The trailer for Heartland Season 19 Episode 2 has just dropped, and it hints at something none of us were ready for. Amy and Nathan might be breaking up. Yes, you heard that right. After everything they went through in the first episode, the fires, the emotional rescue, the bonding moments, it seems like their love story is about to face its toughest test yet. The trailer gives us only a few short glimpses, but those few seconds are enough to send shockwaves through the entire Heartland fandom. We see tension, heartbreak, and a kind of silence between Amy and Nathan that speaks louder than any argument ever could. It's the kind of silence that usually means something big, something painful, and something that changes everything. And honestly, I didn't think Heartland would dare to go this far so soon in the season. But here we are, and I can already tell that Episode 2 will be one of those episodes that fans will never forget. The first episode of Season 19 set the stage for this drama perfectly. Amy was finally allowing herself to move forward, opening her heart to Nathan, while still dealing with the emotional wounds left by Ty's absence. We saw her fighting fires, both literally and emotionally. And for a moment, it seemed like she had finally found peace. Nathan was there by her side through danger, showing that he was willing to risk everything for her. Their connection felt strong, honest, and healing. But as we all know, in Heartland, peace never lasts for long. The trailer for Episode 2 completely flips the tone. The smiles are gone. The calm moments have vanished. And suddenly, the tension between Amy and Nathan feels almost unbearable. We hear Amy's voice saying something like, "Maybe we rushed things," and Nathan looking down, unable to meet her eyes. That one line already tells us everything. Amy might be doubting her relationship, and it seems like the reason behind it could be much deeper than just a simple argument. In Episode 1, Amy realized how much Lindy still misses her father. That one heartbreaking scene where Lindy holds her picture with Ty left a mark not only on Amy, but on all of us watching. It reminded Amy that no matter how much time passes, the bond between Ty and Lindy will always be a part of their lives. So when Amy risks her life during the fires, leaving Lindy terrified, it forces her to question her own priorities. And that realization seems to carry over into Episode 2. The trailer shows a few scenes where Amy is sitting alone, looking lost in thought. We can tell she's struggling, not because she doesn't care for Nathan, but because she's realizing how complicated love can be when you're a mother still healing from loss. And just when we think things might calm down, Lou steps in, and that's when everything starts to spiral. If you remember from Episode 1, Lou had serious concerns about Amy being with Nathan, especially after the deal involving Nathan's sister caused so much tension between the Heartland Ranch and their business. Lou believes that family and business should never mix, and she doesn't trust the situation one bit. In the trailer, we hear her telling Amy, "You're letting your heart cloud your judgment." That single sentence feels like it could spark the biggest argument we've seen between the two sisters in years. And knowing Amy, she doesn't take criticism lightly, especially when it comes to her personal life. She's already been through enough loss, and she finally thought she deserved happiness again. But now, everyone around her seems to be questioning her choices, and that kind of pressure can make anyone snap. From what we've seen, Amy will be faced with an impossible decision. Does she protect her family's legacy and her daughter's stability, or does she follow her heart and stand by Nathan, no matter the cost? The trailer doesn't give away the answer, but it makes one thing painfully clear. Amy is about to be tested like never before. The look on her face in those short clips says it all. Confusion, heartbreak, fear. And when Nathan says, "If you can't trust me, there's nothing left to fight for," it's like the air gets sucked out of the room. That's the moment every fan will feel in their chest. We can sense the love between them, but we can also feel the walls closing in. Heartland has always been about family, growth, and resilience, but this season seems determined to show us the darker, more painful side of those themes. Episode 2 might not just be about a breakup. It might be about Amy facing the hardest truth of her life. Because sometimes, even love isn't enough to make things right. And that's what makes this show so powerful. It's not just about romance or horses or ranch life. It's about the choices that define us, the pain that shapes us, and the courage it takes to move forward even when everything inside us wants to hold on. One of the most striking moments in the trailer is when Amy walks through the burned forest. The same forest that almost took her life in Episode 1 now mirrors the state of her heart. Damaged, fragile, and trying to recover. The symbolism is impossible to miss. Heartland has always been brilliant at using nature to reflect emotion, and this scene feels like a perfect example of that. As Amy walks among the ashes, her face is calm, but her eyes tell a completely different story. You can see the weight she's carrying, the guilt, the confusion, and the fear of making the wrong choice again. For her, this isn't just a relationship issue. It's a question of identity. Who is Amy Fleming now? A woman in love? A mother first and foremost? Or someone still trapped in the shadow of her past? And then there's Nathan. The trailer shows him standing outside the ranch, looking at the horizon like he's lost something he can't get back. We hear his voice in the background saying, "I thought we were building something real." That single line might be the most heartbreaking moment of the teaser, because in many ways, Nathan represents everything Amy said she wanted. Stability, understanding, someone who wouldn't run away when things got hard. But the problem is, Amy's heart is still learning how to trust again. After everything that happened with Ty, it's not easy for her to fully let someone in. Every time she gets close to happiness, fear sneaks in and whispers that it could all be taken away in a heartbeat. And that fear might be the very thing that ruins what she's built with Nathan. The trailer also hints at a major confrontation between Amy and Lou. We see a short clip of Lou raising her voice, something we rarely see from her, saying, "You can't keep mixing your feelings with your responsibilities." That line alone suggests that the situation with Nathan's sister and the deal gone wrong has caused a huge mess for the ranch. Lou is protective not just of Amy, but of the entire Heartland legacy. She sees danger where Amy sees love. And while her intentions might come from a place of care, her words will probably cut deeper than she realizes. The tension between these two sisters feels like it's reaching a boiling point. And knowing their history, this argument might not end easily. Amy has always been emotional, but fiercely independent. When people tell her what she should or shouldn't do, she tends to pull away even more. So this fight could be the final push that makes her. Meanwhile, Lindy's role in this episode seems to be more emotional than ever. We get a few quick shots in the trailer showing her at school, looking anxious and withdrawn. It seems like she's struggling to process everything happening around her. The fire, the evacuation, and now the growing tension between her mother and Nathan. For a child who has already lost one parent, any sign of instability can feel terrifying. There's one especially powerful scene where Lindy is sitting alone, holding the picture of her and Ty again, almost as if she's trying to hold on to something steady when the world around her feels uncertain. That image says everything about how much she's been affected by the changes in her life. And it might be the key to understanding Amy's next decision, because no matter how much she cares about Nathan, Amy will always put her daughter first. As the trailer continues, we see what looks like a confrontation between Amy and Nathan outside the barn. It's raining, the air is tense, and you can feel that this is the breaking point. Nathan looks desperate, trying to explain himself, but Amy's expression is distant, guarded, almost like she's already made up her mind. We can't hear the entire conversation, but there's one chilling line that stands out. Amy says, "I can't go through this again." Those words hit like a thunderbolt. They're not just about Nathan. They're about everything she's lived through. Every heartbreak, every loss, every time she's tried to rebuild her life and watched it crumble again. It's that fear of repeating the same pain that pushes her to step back. And no matter how strong their connection was, fear has a way of winning when emotions run this deep. But here's where things get interesting. Heartland has never been about easy endings. Every time the show seems to break something apart, it does it for a reason. Maybe Amy and Nathan's breakup isn't the end, but a necessary pause. Maybe they need to fall apart before they can truly come together again. The trailer leaves us guessing, but there's a moment near the end where Amy looks up at the sky, tears in her eyes, and you can almost feel hope lingering beneath the pain. It's subtle, but it's there, because even when everything seems lost, Heartland always finds a way to remind us that healing takes time, and sometimes love needs space to grow stronger. The more we look into this trailer, the clearer it becomes that episode 2 isn't just about a breakup, it's about everything that leads up to that heartbreaking decision. Heartland has always had a way of turning emotional pain into growth, but this time, the stakes feel higher than ever. The camera lingers on Amy's face longer than usual, almost inviting us to read her thoughts. And what we see there isn't anger, it's exhaustion. The kind that comes from fighting too many battles at once. She's trying to hold on to her career, her daughter, her family's expectations, and now a relationship that's beginning to feel heavier than comforting. It's that quiet, suffocating pressure that slowly breaks a person down, and Amy's starting to realize that she can't carry it all alone anymore. There's one powerful moment in the trailer where Amy is brushing one of the horses, her hand trembling slightly. It's a subtle detail, but it speaks volumes. Throughout the show, the barn has always been her place of peace, the one corner of the world where she could breathe, think, and feel safe. But now even that sanctuary seems different. The calmness she used to find there is gone. The horses sense her unease. You can almost feel their nervous energy mirroring hers. It's as if the ranch itself is reacting to the storm brewing inside her. Then we hear her whisper something soft, almost too quiet to catch. "I don't know if I can do this anymore." That one line sends chills down your spine because it's not just about Nathan, it's about everything. Amy has always been the strong one, the one who pushes through, who keeps everyone else going. Hearing her voice that kind of doubt feels raw and painful in a way we haven't seen since Ty's death. And speaking of Ty, his memory looms large over every frame of this trailer. It's like he's still there, a silent presence shaping Amy's every move. The show has done a brilliant job of keeping his legacy alive without overdoing it, but in this episode, it seems that his absence becomes an active force in Amy's decision-making. We see a short clip of Amy and Jack talking on the porch, and while the audio isn't clear, you can tell it's one of those heart-to-heart conversations. Jack's expression is serious, but not angry, more like he's trying to remind Amy of who she is. He's been her rock since the very beginning, and it looks like he'll once again be the one to ground her when everything feels uncertain. There's a moment where Jack says something along the lines of, "You can't fill the same space twice, Amy." It's such a classic Jack line, simple, wise, and absolutely true. Maybe that's the realization Amy needs. Nathan isn't supposed to replace Ty. He's supposed to be someone new. But right now, Amy isn't ready to let that space be filled at all. The trailer also gives us a glimpse of the wider impact of Amy and Nathan's fallout on the rest of the family. Lou, who was already skeptical, looks both guilty and frustrated. She wanted to protect Amy, but now she's starting to realize that her interference might have pushed things over the edge. There's a quick shot of her talking to Peter, saying, "I didn't mean for it to go this far." That alone tells us Lou might be regretting her harsh words from episode 1. It's the classic Heartland dynamic. No one is truly the villain, everyone is just trying to do what they think is right, and sometimes that makes things worse. It's a theme that always resonates with fans because it feels real. Families fight, misunderstand, and hurt each other, but at the end of the day, love still ties them together. Meanwhile, Nathan's storyline in episode 2 looks like it's going to be just as emotional. The trailer shows him in his truck, driving away from Heartland with a distant look in his eyes. He doesn't look angry, he looks heartbroken. For someone like Nathan, who has built his life around patience and care, losing Amy feels like losing a part of himself. The next clip shows him talking to his sister, the same sister who caused so much trouble in episode 1, and from what we can tell, the conversation doesn't go well. She seems defensive, maybe even unapologetic, and Nathan's frustration is written all over his face. It's like he's realizing that the people around him keep pulling him away from the life he wants. He loves Amy, but every decision he makes for her somehow ends up backfiring. This might be the moment that forces him to choose whether he's fighting for love or just fighting against circumstance. One of the most haunting scenes in the trailer shows Amy watching Lindy sleep. The lighting is dim, the house is quiet, and Amy's expression is a mix of love and regret. It's that universal moment every parent understands, wondering if you're doing the right thing, even when it hurts. We hear a voiceover from Amy saying, "I need to protect her from my mistakes." That line might be the key to everything. Amy believes that by ending things with Nathan, she's keeping Lindy safe, from heartbreak, from confusion, from change. But what she doesn't realize yet is that she might also be teaching Lindy that love is something to be feared, not embraced. Heartland has always been about breaking those emotional cycles, and this episode seems like it's setting up that very theme. The trailer ends on a gut-punch moment. We see Amy standing in the rain, the same setting as earlier, but this time she's alone. No Nathan, no dialogue, just her looking up as the rain pours down. It's a quiet, cinematic shot that feels final, like a goodbye. But then, right before the screen fades to black, there's a faint sound. Maybe a car engine, maybe footsteps. It's enough to make every viewer lean forward, wondering if Nathan has turned back. The trailer cuts there, leaving us with that unbearable mix of hope and heartbreak that Heartland does so perfectly, because just when you think something's over, the show always finds a way to remind us that healing doesn't happen in straight lines. It's messy, painful, and full of surprises. And that's exactly why fans keep coming back season after season. If episode 1 gave us fire and chaos, episode 2 looks ready to give us emotional storms that burn just as fiercely. Everything we've seen points to an episode filled with difficult choices, broken trust, and moments of painful honesty. Amy's toughest choice isn't simply between love and responsibility, it's between holding on and letting go. And whichever path she chooses, it's going to change Heartland forever. What makes this upcoming episode even more intense is that it's not just Amy and Nathan's relationship hanging in the balance, it's the balance of Heartland itself. When love starts to crumble at the center of the story, it affects everyone around it. The trailer hints at subtle cracks forming across the entire family, and each member seems to be facing their own moment of reckoning. Jack, as usual, becomes the quiet observer, carrying the wisdom that only time can give. But even he looks troubled in this trailer. There's a short clip of him walking across the ranch at dusk, staring out over the land, and you can feel the worry in his posture. Jack knows that Amy's pain isn't just about losing Nathan. It's about losing direction. He's seen this before. After Ty's death, Amy lost a piece of herself, and now that she's starting to drift again, Jack senses it. His silence feels heavy, like he's thinking of the right words to pull her back before she makes a decision she'll regret for years. Then there's Lou, who's caught in the middle between trying to protect her sister and dealing with the fallout from the business side of things. The deal that went wrong in episode 1, the one Nathan's sister mishandled, is starting to have real consequences. In one clip, Lou is on the phone, pacing, clearly arguing with someone about the ranch contracts. You can catch a few words, something like, "You promised this wouldn't affect us," and "We're already behind on deadlines." It's a clear sign that the tension from Amy's personal life is bleeding into the family's work. Heartland has always been built on unity and trust, and now both of those pillars are shaking. Lou's frustration isn't just about the business deal, it's about watching Amy make choices that seem to put the entire family at risk. Her protectiveness comes out as criticism, but deep down, she's scared. Scared of watching Amy lose herself again. Scared of losing the stability they've all worked so hard to rebuild. Meanwhile, we see glimpses of Tim too, and his reaction might surprise many fans. Tim has always been one of the most unpredictable characters. Sometimes selfish, sometimes wise, often both in the same moment. But in this trailer, his energy feels different. He's calm. Almost too calm. There's a moment where he tells Lou, "You can't save her from every mistake." That single line hits hard because it's the truth none of them want to admit. Everyone is trying to protect Amy, but maybe what she needs right now is space to make her own decisions, even if those decisions hurt. Tim seems to understand that heartbreak is sometimes the only way people grow, and his quiet acceptance might actually be what keeps the family grounded while the storm rages. It's rare, but it looks like we might see a more reflective side of Tim this season, one that offers balance instead of chaos. As for Amy, the trailer shows her trying to go back to her routines, training horses, spending time with Lindy, helping around the ranch. But there's a noticeable emptiness in everything she does. You can feel it in her movements, in her voice when she speaks to others. It's as if she's doing all the right things but feeling none of them. There's one brief moment where she watches Lindy playing with a foal, and she smiles, but the smile doesn't reach her eyes. That detail is tiny, yet it says everything. Amy is trying to convince herself that she made the right choice by ending things with Nathan, but deep down, she's not sure. The guilt is starting to eat at her. Guilt for hurting Nathan, for making Lindy worry, and for letting Lou's words influence her heart. And while she might not admit it out loud, the look in her eyes tells the truth. She misses him. The trailer also gives us our first real hint that Nathan isn't completely gone from Amy's life. There's a quick shot of him back at his ranch, working with a horse that seems wild and frightened. It's a powerful visual parallel to Amy's own state of mind. Just like that horse, Nathan is struggling to find calm after chaos. He's trying to stay busy, to keep his focus, but his heart is clearly still at Heartland. At one point, we hear him say, "I shouldn't have let her walk away." That one line, paired with the sadness in his eyes, might be the clearest sign yet that this breakup isn't the end. It's a turning point. Nathan's not angry at Amy. He's heartbroken but understanding. And that makes his character even more admirable. He knows that love can't be forced, and he's giving Amy the space she needs, even if it breaks him in the process. One of the most emotional parts of the trailer comes near the end when Amy is alone at the ranch during sunset. She's standing by the fence, the wind blowing through her hair, watching the horses run freely in the field. It's such a poetic moment because it mirrors her own internal conflict, the longing for freedom versus the comfort of connection. As the horses gallop across the open space, Amy whispers something softly under her breath. Fans have been speculating about what she says, but most agree it's something along the lines of, "Maybe love isn't meant to be easy." That simple sentence could be the emotional anchor of episode 2. It's the kind of realization that only comes after you've been through enough heartbreak to know that love isn't about perfection. It's about persistence, patience, and forgiveness. The music in the trailer swells at that exact moment, giving us a rush of emotion that perfectly captures what Heartland stands for. This show has never been about grand romantic gestures or fairy tale endings. It's about real people facing real emotions, and the beauty of that honesty. Amy's heartbreak is painful, but it's also human. It's something everyone watching can understand. That feeling of wanting two things that can't exist together, like peace and passion or safety and risk. Episode 2 looks like it will dive deep into that emotional contradiction, showing us that even when something breaks, it can still be meaningful. And then, just before the trailer fades, there's a single haunting image. Amy finds a note tucked inside one of the barn doors. We don't see what's written on it, but her expression changes completely. Shock mixed with a flicker of hope. Could it be from Nathan? Could it be something that changes everything we've been expecting? The trailer doesn't tell us, but it ends on that perfect cliffhanger that leaves fans desperate for answers. The moment is quiet, but it feels monumental, as if it's setting up the emotional twist that will define the rest of the season.